Hey everybody, it's Murgle, and today, well yesterday, 7.3 went live, and of course the hunt for the Lucid Nightmare Mount has begun. It's still very confusing, doesn't make a whole lot of sense right now, but I'm sure once it's solved, it'll be ridiculously easy and everybody will be slapping themselves. So anyways, the first step of this wonderful mount starts right here in Dalaran. And you can see here, where I'm standing on the map, just come fly on top of this balcony, walk in this room, and click on the inconspicuous note. Inconspicuous note reads, "It begins in the 2104059. With a most pleasing sign, these letters will not always rhyme." And, as you can see, when you interact with this thing, it looks like a brain appears. So one of the first places we went was Yogg Saron and Ulduar, because it looks a lot like that. We went there, searched Yogg's lair and everything. Wasn't there, so we rode off Ulduar, and then turns out it was actually Ulduar for the next step. It was very... because when you rearrange these numbers, you get the release date of Ulduar, but you also can get the release date of Cataclysm. You can get the release date of Dragon Soul, just a bunch of things, and you rearrange them. So we kind of wrote that off as not being true, but it is actually an Ulduar. It just has nothing to do with Yogg as of right now, as far as we assume. But let's go to the second step and show you this, so maybe you can get a whack at it. Alright, so once you've arrived at Ulduar for the next step, you're going to come to XT's room, so XT Deconstructor over here, and see, this might be where the brain comes into play. I don't know. I don't know if anybody mentioned this, but just my own thoughts. The brain, since it's on top of this gnome's head, maybe it's talking about his brain, because we thought the brain meant Yogg or Yogg Saron, and inside of his brain room, we tried a whole bunch of crap in his brain room, and it didn't have any effect. So, only thing I can imagine is this. And, anyways, when you click this little lever on his head, it spawns all these lights, and this is where the community is at a loss. There may be other clues, but the thing is, I mainly want you guys to go make sure you touch that page in Dalaran. And the reason being is if you happen to stumble upon maybe another clue, because you can't touch this lever before touching the page in Dalaran. And that means that whatever happens once you've touched that lever allows you to trigger this. Meaning this is in some way involved, right? But there's no guarantee that that page in Dalaran is the only clue. It just happens to be a requirement to touch that page, and then you're allowed to come here. Now, the thing is, these things light up. Once you click them, as you can see, you can click them on and off. And this one in the middle is, for whatever reason, not very aligned, but many of them aren't. Like, you can see if you look down a straight line, a lot of them aren't aligned perfectly and things like that. So, we don't know if this one in particular is just more off than the rest of them on purpose, or if it's just because they hand placed them and Celestalon or Jeremy, whichever Muffinus, Celestalon or Muffinus, were drunk when they were laying these down, and that's why they're so wobbly. But yeah, this is where the entire community is at a loss, because it says a most pleasing sign. No real idea what it intends. This is a 20 by 20 grid. They've tried QR codes, they've made hearts, they've made crosses, they made X's. We had like 600 people on the stream participating, and we tried a lot of different shapes to try to lighten them all up. We tried making like squares within squares, and we tried breaking this into a 4x4 grid, making random shapes, and nothing really came from any of it. So that's the point. Like, is it, you know, just, is there more clues, or is there just something that we haven't tried? So if you want to give yourself a crack at this, you'd be the first person in the world to solve this riddle. That'd be really awesome. You know, obviously when we're listing the results, you know, it says whoever found each step and stuff, and it's really cool. If you want to give it a whirl, you know, you'd be helping the entire community out, and it'd be really funny, you know, to see, because at the end of it, whatever the shape is going to be, I don't think it can be that intricate, because a 20 by 20 grid, that's really easy to mess up, and it's also quite impossible to brute force it. Like, to brute force this entire grid, you could eventually find whatever pattern is it supposed to be in these lights, but it would take over 1 trillion attempts, so no human could ever physically do that. And that's why it's 20 by 20. But I guarantee you, whenever the final result comes out, I bet it's only a few pieces you have to fill in this puzzle, and then there you go. But it's hard to tell which pieces are which. Now, there's one more notable thing. I guess somebody looked in the database, and I haven't confirmed this, so I'm not positive, but somebody said there's different lights. Like, even though they all say Scrapyard Light when you hover over it, apparently there's 2 versions of Scrapyard Light. I don't know if that's true. It's just simply something I read, and might be another thing. Like, it's trying to tell you that only certain Scrapyard Lights are the ones you light up. So that further leads to believe the fact that this is supposed to be lit up in a very minimal pattern or something. But again, it's a very wild puzzle. You know, Celestalon and Muffinez did a good job with this one. They said because the Riddler's Mind Worm was so easy, you could technically brute force it. They wanted to make this one more challenging. And this one is impossible to brute force. But it is fun, you know. I burned my brain out for like 16 hours trying to make different shapes and stuff as well. We didn't get it. Nobody's got it. Maybe you'll be the one to get it. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, I will try to answer all of them in the comments. I will tell you if the community has tried it. But then again, even if the community tried it, don't take that for an answer that it's guaranteed it didn't happen. Example, I screwed up. We came to Ulduar. We didn't really search most of Ulduar. We mainly searched Yogg because we thought every hint led to Yogg. Like, the date rearranges for the date that Ulduar was released. We knew that. We came here. We assumed the brain meant that it had to deal with Yogg, so we ignored everything else. We skipped the scrapyard. If our group would have searched a little more, because we were the first group looking, if our group would have searched a little more, we could have found this 6 hours ahead of time, but we didn't even look in this room. But somebody came back, and they found that this was in the scrapyard. So just because somebody's done it, doesn't mean it's technically right. You're more than welcome to try again, and hopefully you'll be right. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you again real soon. Bye-bye.